Hello, Dripping Springs, and not just Dripping Springs High School. Maybe Dripping Springs, maybe the world. I don't know who you are, but welcome to the LOCO Podcast, brought to you by the DSHS Tiger Wave. I'm here
We're
with my co-host Logan.
we are technically an international broadcast since we go on YouTube.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it.
Anything exciting happened this week?
Let's see. Got ungrounded, so that's cool. So now I got
Anything
my.
else?
Is there something I'm missing?
I don't know. Probably
No.
not.
No, I've been pretty boring recently.
I can tell you that WandaVision has far exceeded my expectations so far.
Oh boy, here we go.
It is actually. I need to look up and see what kind of rating it has right now. I've never seen a Marvel creation like this. 93% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's really, really good. It's super interesting the way that they're doing it. You know, I was mentioning to someone the other day, it's like, I think Marvel does best when it leans into how ridiculous it is and I think it's one of the things that DC has recently caught on to, that like superheroes are kind
Hold up. DC caught on to that first, bro.
No, they did not.
Yeah.
DC is all okay. Zack Snyder is the worst at that. I'll just put that out right now. Zack Snyder. Am I saying that? Am I saying
It's
his name?
Snyder, not Schneider.
Okay. Well, he's one of the reasons I've never been able to watch his movies is because it's far too dramatized for me in a way that he tries to make you feel realistically emotional. But I don't know that the concepts of the movie really lend themselves to being realistically emotional because they're pretty silly concepts.
Well, I'm
and
not
I-
talking about the movies. I'm talking about the TV shows like Legends of Tomorrow. That show leans into the goofiness 100%. It's like the best superhero show out there right now.
So I've actually enjoyed a lot of the DC TV shows. I wasn't really talking about the TV shows because those aren't part of the DC universe in terms of their movies. I'd agree
That's
with you.
fair.
I watched The Flash a lot. I enjoyed The Flash. I enjoyed Arrow. I thought that those actually did exactly what I'm talking about, where it like did lean into the like ridiculousness and had a really good feel to it, you know. But the reason that I mentioned WandaVision is because it's still actually they try to do that in their movies too, not just their TV shows. But I think that this show is doing a really good job of it. It's worth checking out. I know that you're not a big Marvel guy, but I think it's worth checking out.
I still haven't watched it, but let me say something, okay? You may say that I'm not a big Marvel guy, but in fact, my second favorite superhero is a Marvel character. And I did Iron Fist.
Okay.
And I did, in fact, meet the guy that plays Iron Fist, and I almost got shot doing so because I was like hopping barriers because I was late. They sent me to the wrong place at Comic Palooza, and I was like hopping barriers and stuff trying to get to him. Luckily, I still got to meet him though, and then I started crying. I think
That
something like that.
show, it's actually upsetting to me that show ended up being like it was because I really like Iron Fist too, and I feel like they could have done more with that show.
I thought they did okay for what they had.
I mean, it was pretty good. It wasn't bad. It was just could have been a little bit better, probably.
Yeah, I agree.
You know,
But like the comics are really good. There's like 7 issues of this one storyline. I forget who it's by, but it's really solid, and everybody should check it out. I don't know what it's. It's like the 7 Mortal Instrument. No, wait, that's like an actual thing. I don't know. Anyway, it's been a while since I read it, but Iron Fist is good. Go read that. You ever heard of Heroes for Hire?
what is it? It sounds familiar.
It's like Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
Okay, yeah.
That's pretty cool stuff.
So
I don't know.
they did something like that on Netflix, didn't they? They had a short series where Luke Cage, Iron Fist teamed up with
Jessica Jones
I
and
think
Daredevil.
even Daredevil. Yeah, that was cool. I really liked that actually.
The Defenders. That was kind of a ripoff for me. It could have been better, especially since it had Sigourney Weaver in it.
Okay, I will give you that. It was not as good as it should have been. Like given the combination of characters, it really could have been like really amazing, and it just ended up being like that was cool, I guess. You know.
I like the Street Heroes more than like the Avengers movies.
So
So
one thing I'm really excited about, there's rumors that in the next Spider-Man movie, Daredevil is going to be an active part of it, which is pretty exciting to me because basically, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen Spider-Man Far From Home, but at the end of the movie, he's outed Peter Parker is outed as Spider-Man.
Didn't we talk about this last week?
Maybe I'll bring it up again.
Okay.
But they
Go ahead.
just, because of the fact that he's going to probably be on the run for his life in New York City and possibly even in legal trouble, there's a lot of reasons as to why Daredevil would fit in well to the story, because he's both a lawyer and knows the streets of New York really well, could help Spider-Man hide and fend off anybody that's after him. It would be an interesting way to do it. I'd like to see, with the last Spider-Man movie, it was so, I really hated the fact that it didn't take place in New York. I liked a lot about that movie, but definitely my biggest problem with it was like the worldwide setting of it. I feel like Spider-Man's one of those more street level heroes, in my opinion. So I'd like to get to see him kind of like be just in New York City, maybe even, like stuck in New York City, unable to leave.
Here's something for you to watch. You have HBO Max. I know this.
Yep.
So what you need to do is you need to watch Batman the Animated Series, which is basically
I've
the
watched
greatest
it.
superhero
I
show of all
love
time.
Hey man, you gotta understand, when I'm talking about DC movies, I'm talking about DC movies. I love DC animation. I watched that since I grew up. Like, I've seen all of the Batman animated series. I've seen Flashpoint. I've seen these are
Nice.
like iconic. I think that they're great pieces of film. So don't get it twisted. Don't get it
Sorry.
twisted.
I'm just saying I didn't know you had watched that yet. But like
I'm
Batman the
definitely
Animated Series, for our listeners at least, is beautiful. Like the Art Deco style. It's like takes place in like the 40s basically. It's like a whole noir detective show basically. It's really awesome stuff.
That's one of the reasons I have such a problem with the movies, is because I actually really, really enjoy DC characters in stuff like the animated series, and sometimes I just get upset that it's not quite as good. I wish that it could be, because those other animated stuff is just really perfect.
Guess who's gonna be in the Snyder Cut, bro?
Who?
Joker.
In the Snyder Cut of the Justice League?
Justice League, yeah.
Has that not already come out? I thought that it did.
No, it comes out in March, on March 18th. And yesterday, Zack Snyder released a photo of Jared Leto as the Joker, or just his hand with
It's
a Joker
Jared
card.
Leto's Joker.
Yeah, but I think
Joker?
yeah, but it looks nothing like Jared Leto's Joker at all. I think they're changing it up.
Okay.
So I'm excited to see
Let's
what
get
that's
let's
for.
get into the
What
news.
that's like.
Let's get into the news.
Let's get into it.
Do you want to go ahead and take it away with the local stuff, or should I start?
Peter's glitched. Oh God, you go ahead. I will see if I can fix my computer.
Connor's having some computer difficulties. So last week the week before last week, we talked about Biden's intended actions that he was going to take as president in his first week or so. He's now passed the bar of his first week, and we're going to speak about some of the things that he has or has not done. So he's signed, I believe it's 28 executive orders in that realm. He's broken the record for the most amount of executive actions taken by a president in the short amount of time. Many have criticized him for it. Many have said that it is an abuse of the powers of president. One important thing to consider when viewing what he's done is the sheer amount of these executive orders that have been rolling back executive orders done by the previous president. Many of these executive orders put us back to where we were, rather than implementing some new policy that he's dictated. Some of the reversals that he's done from the Trump administration would be he has revoked the order that justified separating families at the border, and he's created a task force that recommends steps to Biden to unite these separated families. He's aimed to address economic and political causes of migration, and works with organizations to provide protection to asylum seekers. The Trump administration policies and guidelines. He rescinds the Trump administration policies and guidelines, and also initiates a review of policies that have effectively closed the U.S. border to asylum seekers. And those are in Biden's words. He rescinds the Mexico City policy, a ban on the U.S. government funding for foreign nonprofits that perform or promote abortions. So this is women's health overseas. He has reinstated COVID-19 travel restrictions for individuals traveling to the United States from the United Kingdom, Ireland, and South Africa. He has reversed Trump's ban on transgender Americans joining the military. And then a couple more. I don't want to read you all of the reversals. There were many of them. He has stopped the United States withdrawal from the World Health Organization. Dr. Anthony Fauci is becoming the head of the delegation to the World Health Organization. He's rejoined the Paris Climate Accord, a process that will take 30 days, something I'm very in favor of. And he's canceled, in a surprise move, actually, something that he had campaigned on, but I don't think anybody actually thought he would do it so quickly. He's canceled the Keystone XL pipeline, which is something that was a big deal back in the Trump administration for a little while. And then, of course, he got rid of the ban on the 7 Muslim majority countries that they were banned from entering the U.S. Back, I think that was one of Trump's first actions as president, actually. Those are some of the reversals that he's done. Some of the things that he's implemented that were not around before. A lot having to do with climate. He's done an executive order that elevates climate change as an essential element of U.S. foreign policy and national security, kicking off the development of new emissions reduction target, which will be announced by April of 2022. He reestablished the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. He has, in terms of the economy, he's looking at tying the environment into the economy. I think his effort is to try and help the two in a way that is beneficial to everyone while also being the most efficient way of fixing both in terms of creating new jobs that will help sustain the economy and the environment, which is a really big thing that he needs to do. Now, one of the things that I would like to take a chance to criticize the Biden administration for, as of right now, is that in the Georgia Senate runoff races, both President-elect Biden at this point, as well as now Senators Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, campaigned on that if these Georgia Senate races went Democrat within 1 week, and these are the words of Joe Biden, within 1 week, $2,000 checks would be going out to Americans in need. Now, there's been some interesting, funny business going on with these checks where now it's become $1,400 checks, which they claim is $2,000 in addition, if you consider the $600 checks that were already going out. It is good to keep in mind, though, that the $2,000 checks promised by Biden, by Jon Ossoff, they promised those checks after the $600 checks had already been passed. So I don't know that I necessarily buy that too much. It seems a little slimy to me in terms of the way that it was promoted. I don't know. But it's now been 1 week and we haven't had any movement on even $1,400 checks, which is, I think, very worthy of criticism. I know that it's very fast, but they should not have promised this if they couldn't get it done. I don't think that they've intentionally they haven't been intentionally dragging their feet on it, but it's something that they used to win very important elections that are going to decide a lot of politics going forwards. And I think that they might have dropped the ball a little bit on this one, and it could reflect negatively on their first year here. And if they can't get it passed soon, it could heavily affect the way that the 2022 races go in the House. I think that you could see a big Republican swing in the House if they can't get those checks out and soon, as per their agreement with the American people. Now, as some of you might have noticed, Connor has not been talking. He actually had some technical difficulties and has since left the call. But I'm going to go ahead and get us started on some local news in his absence.
We now welcome you to the state of the drip.
Hays County has proclaimed February as Black History Month officially. The Commissioner's Court proclaimed that. So many municipalities will follow suit in their upcoming city council meeting. This is according to Vanessa Westbrook, chair of the African American Heritage Committee of Hays County Historical Commission. She says, this is the first time there's been a collaborative effort of the whole country to work together and put together this schedule of activities. Some of these activities have been going on for years. Some are new, some are old. The old and the new have met together to provide citizens of Hays County with a great opportunity for discovery, exploration, and learning about significant African Americans in Hays County. The organizers had to be creative, and many of the events will be virtual, Westbrook said, to allow everyone who wants to participate and stay safe. Glad to hear that there will be a virtual element to that. And on our next story, we have that the Hays County reports 2 new fatalities, 104 new cases. We're starting to finally see a trend line down after what all happened over Christmas. We had quite a big spike across the country, really not just here. There have been a total of 192 fatalities in the county. But, you know, it's the thing you have to remember about this, and I'm speaking based on personal experiences at this point very recently, COVID is not a laughing matter. And just because you don't pass away does not mean that you're not severely impaired. And it's actually one of the new things that we're finding out that's been brought to my attention that I thought that I would talk about a little bit is the way that the coronavirus is causing here, let me get this up so that I'm not just talking about stuff that I don't know. Here we go. Coronavirus is causing strokes, not just in the elderly, but in young individuals, according to a few different studies. And there doesn't seem to be quite any rhyme or reason to how or who it affects. According to the Lancet Neurology, they say we would like to emphasize the risk of associated stroke. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, that's the COVID-2 virus, might be more likely to cause thrombotic vascular events, including stroke, than other coronavirus and seasonal infectious diseases. I believe one of the reasons that they think of that this is because there is a high level of blood clot that occurs. It's causing strokes that we just don't normally see in these numbers because people don't clot at this rate in a normal virus. It's a very interesting thing. And like I said, it's pretty rare to see something affect younger people, 20, 25 at the same rate that it does the elderly. And it's a good reason to be careful and to think about others, And then our other story here is going to be that Hays County hospitalizations trend lower, increased restrictions lifted. County officials also say that they are frustrated with the vaccine rollout. Hays County Judge Ruben Becerra Sr. announced on Sunday that area businesses could return to pre-coronavirus pandemic capacity levels as the area's trauma service area remained under 15% for 7 consecutive days. That's a very positive thing to hear. According to Greg Abbott's executive order, bars can reopen, elective surgeries can be scheduled, and businesses can increase their capacity to 75%. This judge said he was pleased to see a positive outcome of the regional partners' efforts to slow the coronavirus's spread. This is a positive step in the right direction. He said everything we are doing right now, combined with the rolling out of the vaccine to everyone who wants it, will aid in the fight against COVID-19. So, very interesting stuff going on. But we're going to have Chris come in a second, and he's going to help us do some musics. So we'll be back for that. All right, we're back. Technical difficulties resolved. Connor is with us just in time for Chris to join. Let's bring Chris in. Connor, you got an album ready?
I sure do, bro.
All right, let's get this guy in here. Let's see.
Let's get him in here.
Oh, here he is.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Here he is. Chris, how's it going?
It's going good. How about you?
Well, we've been having some technical difficulties. Connor had to leave the call for a bit, but I think we're doing pretty well. We're ready to talk about some albums. You want to go first, or it's up to you?
I have an album, but why don't you guys go first?
All right. I'll go ahead and, we'll switch it around. I usually go last. I'll go first. My album is going to be the Foo Fighters album, Concrete and Gold. It came out in 2017.
Yeah.
It's a more modern Foo Fighters album. And the reason I bring this one up is because I actually got to see them play this one live. I saw them, I guess that would have been in 2018.
We were both there together. Well, we weren't there together, but we were both there.
Oh, really? You were there? That's cool.
I've told you this before.
Some really good songs on there are Make It Right, The Sky is a Neighborhood, Concrete and Gold, of course, is the name of the album, also a good song on the album. Chris, do you listen to any Foo Fighters or anything?
I've never heard of them until now.
Oh man, you got to check them out. They're cool.
Never heard of the Foo Fighters.
They're cool. It's I don't know. You might be more familiar with a band called Nirvana because they're also pretty popular. It's the drummer from Nirvana. After Nirvana's lead singer and guitarist unfortunately passed away back in the 90s, he went on to form this band, and they're actually really good. It actually worked out pretty well. So.
What about Run from the Foo Fighters? That's the best song on there.
Run is a really good good song on this album too. Like I said, it's 11 songs on this album. Came out in 2017, so it's a more modern Foo Fighters take. It's pretty good. You should check it out.
It's pretty solid.
That's all from mine though.
Although my parents think "The Sky's the Neighborhood" is a stupid song. They think it's like a stupid metaphor or something.
It kind of. I don't like the whole. I like the song, but there's parts of it that grow a little tiresome for me. I think it's a little bit uninspired. It just doesn't work for me as well as something like Run or Make It Right is I think I like Make It Right better than Run. But
not familiar with that one.
Connor, do you want to go, Connor, and we can finish off with Chris?
I sure will go. That doesn't make much sense, but I'll go. So my album today, because I've been listening to the same three bands since October, is Walk Among Us by the Misfits. Look up this album art real quick.
Yep, I'm doing it.
It's pretty awesome. Some highlights of this album to me are, my favorite is Astro Zombies. You have to keep in mind that the whole Misfits thing is like corny. Excuse you. Oh, sorry, my screen glitched out for a second. It's like corny sci-fi horror stuff. So that's kind of what's going on there. You got like the monster and you got like the UFOs and you got the whole band right there as well. It's pretty cool stuff.
Are they like trying to be silly with their outfits, or is that like legitimately what they go for?
Honestly, I think that's legitimately what they go for. I think they know it's kind of silly, but
that's cool. I'm not trying to make fun. I'm not trying to make fun of them. I'm just trying to. I know that some of these bands that you listen to might like lean into the silliness of it.
They kind of are the reason all my bands that I listen to are silly at some level.
So tell us about some of the songs on here.
So like I said, Astro Zombies, they grew up with like the whole doo-wop scene.
Mm-hmm.
So it's greatly influenced by that and Elvis. And then you just add like the punk rock aspect to it and the horror punk aspect to it. That's what Vampira is about.
You listen to the most interesting things. So
thank you.
So interesting.
Vampira is about a goth GF basically.
Okay. Vampira?
Vampira. You know, like the old horror TV show host?
Okay. Yeah.
You know those people? And then we got Mommy, Can I Go Out and Kill Tonight? Which is just funny. Like asking, hey, Mommy, can I go out and kill tonight?
Is that actually live or are they?
It's actually live.
Okay.
That's funny. So, and then there's Skulls. I want your skulls. I need your skulls. Give me your skulls, that kind of thing. That's also kind of funny. It's kind of corny, I guess, but it's really good stuff. Astro Zombies is a great song.
Oh, this is from 1982? Oh, interesting. Okay. I thought that this was a more modern thing. That's cool.
Oh, no. This is old stuff. In fact, I
Alright.
thought it was the 70s actually. I think that probably just came out in the 80s. I don't know. But Misfits Walk Among Us is a great album. Go listen to it.
Okay. What do you got, Chris?
The album I'm recommending for today is Let's Go by In Love with the Ghost.
It's Let's Go, you
Mhm.
say? Let me look for this here. Albums. And what's the band? Or
In
who's
Love
it?
with the Ghost.
In love with. Tell us a little bit about it.
None of the songs in this album have any lyrics. It's just like, when you want to do some homework and then you just
Uh-huh.
put 24-hour lo-fi.
Yeah.
It's kind of those types of songs. So it's just something you kind of listen to just chill out.
Okay. I get you. I like this album cover.
Yeah.
I actually like it a lot. So this is a more modern thing. Would this be, do they have a big following, or is this kind of like a niche kind of thing? Because I haven't heard of them, so I would assume that but I don't know much modern music anyways.
They have about 1 million monthly user or listeners.
Okay.
So I would assume that they're kind of a big thing.
Let me see what else they've got going on here. Okay, so they've got a few albums.
Yeah.
Are they all about that length? No, this one's a little bit longer.
No, I think this is one of the shorter ones that they've done.
An
Okay.
EP.
Yeah, it's more of an EP, but it's still really good.
That's cool, man. I like it. What do you have a song on here that's your favorite?
Probably the first song I heard on the album, which was "Sorry for Not Answering the Phone."
Okay. Do you have a least favorite, or maybe like a part that you think isn't as good as the rest?
No, they're all genuinely pretty good songs.
Cool, man. That's awesome. All right. Well, thanks for sharing it. Everybody should go check out Let's Go by In Love with the Ghost, 2017. If you've got 12 minutes, you can listen to it.
I would just like to add something real quick. Sparky, stop. Oh my god, never mind. I guess I want to add something. My dog's barking.
Go ahead. It's fine.
Remember on Halloween when I dressed up and I had that makeup on? That was from the Misfits. So just if you want to go get some context, more context, listeners, go listen to our Halloween episode. Okay, I'm done.
All right. Chris, thanks for recommending the album. I always love it. I always listen to these after we get off the podcast while I'm editing it and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Thanks for
I think this one will work out well since it sounds like I can just kind of like have it on in the background and vibe.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Connor, you've been an awesome co-host. Chris, we can't wait to see you next week. See what you got going for us. Everybody have a great week. Have a good time. Stay
Sorry
safe.
for the technical difficulties.
All good. All right. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.